Happy Sabbath, family. What's going on? So, it's the Sabbath. You know who I am. And Shamar the bread. I don't know how to, it's been a while. So, since I've done this whole podcast thing. But yeah, I guess you could say that Guard Your Garment podcast is back up. And I'm just keeping it simple, doing these Sabbath journals. I got to get better at doing these introductions. I thought a nice change of scenery right here would be cool. I got the scriptures on my hand and in my phone where I got my notes at. So I'm just pulling that up here. Uh, but hey, I hope you guys had a good week. Just finished doing Sabbath Torah portion class with the kids. You guys see I got new gear, so I'm just trying it out. And we'll see how it sounds at the end of this. Hold up. I got to clip this on my shirt. So for all the people that hear this audio, I don't know how your experience is going to be, but all the people seeing it in video get some entertainment. But this Sabbath, we did Torah portion, Key Tisa, made another little coloring book page. Week 21, my daughter colored this one. I do my Torah portions a little bit different than the traditional way. We start the first Sabbath after Passover. Unless Passover lands on a Sabbath, you know, we figuring it out, just doing it different, something for our family, you know. But I thought I'd talk about my week, and like I said in the last one, I think it's pretty cool how sometimes, not all the time, our week, the things that go on in our week can relate to the weekly Torah portion. Not always, but this is another week where it did. So right here, Exodus 30, verse 11 to 34, 35. That's what we read. I'm not going to read it unless you guys start asking me to do it. Then obviously I'll change location and do it a different style. But the point of this is just to be casual, man. Be cool. You know, this is obviously for us, for our people, you know, the believers in the Most High and His Son, keeping His commandments, so us to talk and fellowship and break bread. But I also want to keep it casual for the people that don't know, because, you know, religion is man, and this is a relationship. These are words of relationship, not of religion. And because religion has wreaked havoc on it, you know, like what did, you know, Jesus say? What did Yeshua say? They're doing violence on the gospel. So I hope that by keeping it cool and keeping it casual and keeping it smooth and short, it'll show someone who has questions that it's not all about beating people over the head with this word, man. But yeah, here we go. And I put this verse because it was my favorite verse right here. So, yet now, if you will forgive their sin, and if not, blot me, I pray you, out of your book. So that was the picture. I think I talked about it last time. You know, I'm not ashamed to say this is an AI generated coloring page with my prompts. So for all the parents out there, man, try to get you a little coloring prompt and do the method that I recommend, that I do with my kids. And that method is, you know, they just sit there, listen to me read the Torah portion. They color their coloring page. And then when I'm done, we talk about it. And that helps them with active recall, which is one of the best studying methods, the active recall method, or it's also called receptive recall. So yeah, try it out. See if it works for you. It's been working so far for me. So let me know. And here we go. So we got this here. Let me just see if everything's going right on the other side. This is a little weird, me doing it outside, but I figured it'd be nice, right? So let's see here. All right, it's all working out. I'm just checking because I got it with the rear facing camera on the other end. So all right. First and foremost, all praise to the Most High for giving us the opportunity to keep the Sabbath, to rest with Him and to hang out and get into Word and spend time with our family. The Torah portion I did with my kids, I did with my wife. I did with my mom. And it was about the golden calf and the oil for the anointing and all that. And it was really cool. It's the second week my mom's here to help us take care of our baby number 3. And it's been real nice. It's been real nice to read this word with my mom. For those of you that don't know, I was born and raised, Roman Catholic. And I think I said it last week, I don't subscribe to Catholicism. If you look it up, it doesn't align with the word. And if you look at the history of the Catholic Church, they were taking lives away for people that were reading it in their own language. But I say that to say, I give praise to the Most High in Yeshua's name that I was raised Roman Catholic. There's good things in that religion, and there's bad things. Just like everything, right? This is the 80-20 rule, and it goes both ways. 80% truth, 20% lies. 20% truth, 80% lies. I like to say the Catholic Church is 20% truth, 80% lies. But that 20%, it wasn't that bad. It was cool. After Sunday, you get some food, you say what's up to people, some kind people up in there, but unfortunately they were teaching what contradicts, right? And I say that to say it's a blessing that my mother, who raised me Roman Catholic, is here, keeping the Sabbath with me and breaking bread with me over this word, helping me, homeschool my children with my wife. My mother's an English teacher, a master English teacher. Great. She taught me how to read and how to comprehend words and all of that good stuff. And also when I read the Bible with my mom, it feels so good because I like hearing her take on it, man. My mom's a very knowledgeable woman. Very, she could talk, like, even though she's older than me and she's a woman, I'm a man, and she's my mom. I don't feel like because she's my mom, I can't speak with her freely. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, it's my mom, I can't say this. No, I speak to my mother, like, obviously she's not my friend, she's my mom, but we speak as friends, and that's a blessing. And I pray that for everyone, that you can have that relationship with your mother. If you're not there, I pray you get there. And if you are there, cherish it, man. Cherish it. So this past week, man, has been a week, yo. Let me see. I started nursing school. It's a lot of reading, a lot of studying, and we've just figured out the system because they got a new system in place and all that. We're the first class to do it. So I'm actually behind on my reading. And I was a little paranoid because since it's the Sabbath and I haven't really done this before, I'm like, hey, can I read? Like, can I read my nursing book? Like, not get too crazy, just, chip in 30, 45 minutes so I could retain the material, you know what I'm saying, when I'm off of teaching the kids and when I'm done reading the Bible. And so I was paranoid about that. He was like, yeah, that's not work. Like, unless you tired and you forcing yourself, it's not work. Pop in there and read it and ask the Most High to help you retain the information. And ironically, it went into the topic of control because after realizing, wait, okay, I can read my nursing book. Like, this is like I'm learning how to take care of people. I'm learning how to do one of the missions given to us from the Most High, to love our neighbor, to take care of our neighbor, look out for the people. I'm like, man, how am I going to squeeze this in? Because, uh, I'm about to take this seriously. And it goes into control. Like, I'm a little upset that I'm behind, that, I can't pick this up quick, and I got to be humble. Like, I can't control the fact that I don't know this stuff. And it's intimidating. And, knowing that I'm not breaking Shabbat, if I just go through some flashcards real quick or just pop in to keep my mind fresh, that it's not a sin, it's refreshing. But then it led to the issue with control. Like, I'm upset, like, man, I can't control the material to make it easier, you know what I'm saying, to make it simpler. Like, it is what it is. I got to learn it. And that's what this past week has made me think about. In this specific Torah portion, Kitisa when you count, man. You know. So for those of you that don't know, that may know the Bible story, it's the story of the golden calf, right? And that is all about control. And again, this was one of those weeks where I learned about the Torah portion in my life through application before I read it. And one of the ways that started was me, my wife, and my children. My wife, my children, and I. We went to watch Toy Story 5. And Toy Story 5 is a good movie. Hold on, let me check something real quick. Sorry, guys. Here we go. All right. So we went to watch Toy Story 5, and spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen it yet. One, it's a real good movie. And two, it teaches children some good stuff. And three, the spoiler is that movie's all about control, right? So you're talking about toys that they want to control the playtime with the children, right? They want to, of course, they want the kids to love them and play with them and all that. And when the kids grow up, they got a problem with it. So what happens is, you know, the kid gets an iPad and is not playing with the toys anymore. And then when that happens, one of the toys starts to freak out and seeks to sabotage the iPad. That she sees that the other kids are getting older, and there was a kid that was all that owned her before, and that kid got older and stopped playing with toys and got rid of her. Then the other kid got older and got rid of her, and she goes crazy trying to control the fact that children grow up. And at the conclusion of the story, she understands, you know, she says something powerful in the movie, which I don't know it word for word, but it's like, hey, we're here to be there for them during a certain period of time, and we can't control when they grow up, but we can be there for them while they're growing up. And that whole message in that movie was about relinquishing control and like accepting where you are. And yes, that is a very worldly, quote unquote, movie, whatever you want to call it. But I feel like we could glean anything from everything, right? And I read that, and then I talked to my wife about it, and then we were talking about because you know the movie talks about how the iPad is taking over kids, the tablets, the tech. That's the big thing. That toy, she's going, tech, it's tech is ruining everything, you know. And me and my wife talked about it like it's control. It's control. Like when you look at the root of it, how does the kid get an iPad? The parents. Why do the parents give the kid the iPad? To get him to shut up. Control, right? I know I'm gonna ruffle a few feathers here, you know. I'm not bragging when I say it. My kids don't play with the iPads. And I'm very limited with their time when it comes to video games. I allow video games because video games, you actually have to know what you're doing to manipulate the character and do all that. And I'm like, all right, fine. You know, you get about 30 minutes to an hour, and I had to cut that down too. It's control. Getting on this thing right here. This little thing right here is control, right? Before, you were bored. You were bored. You sat down. You did nothing. You were in an elevator with a bunch of people. You just stood there. Somebody might have farted, upset everybody in the elevator, cough. You're like, oh, wait, is this guy got the plague or something? You know, but you were just in the elevator. And then you got off the elevator. That was it. You were bored. And this has been a tool to control boredom, to stop you from being bored, to stop you from thinking, to stop you from being present. And that's what all this is. This is one big game for control, man. And in this specific lesson that I gave my children reading this Torah portion with the golden calf, that was a huge control problem. The people wanted to control their situation, right? And that's a bad little default that we could get into in this life, is trying to control, you know, going to nursing school. I got to control my time management. I can't just go to bed when I want to go to bed or wake up when I want to wake up. You know, I like to exercise in the morning. Now I got to studying in the morning. That stressed me out. I kind of freaked out about it. I was upset. Why? Because I don't have the control that I used to have over my morning schedule. Through this education, to make more money than what I'm making right now, to provide for my family in the process of taking care of people. And I say that to say, if you're getting into the medical field for the money, don't waste your time. Go do a business or whatever, because you're going to get your money, but you're not going to be happy if you're just in it for the money. Because people can be difficult. People can be great. And the job of being, I've been in the medical field for 11 years. You know, I was a medic in the military. I was, you know, I worked as a medical assistant, you know, and I love people. I love people. And that's why, despite when they can have an attitude or when they can be a little mean, I know, man, you got something going on. So I want to help you out, because I've been the guy. I've been the jerk. I've been the irrational person. We've all been, right? What does it say in 1 John? It's the man who says that he hasn't sinned is a liar. We've all been difficult at one point. We've all been stuck in what we got going on, that we forget there's millions of people around us just trying to live their lives too. And that's why I do what I do. Because if I could put a smile on somebody's face, if I can, you know, just be there for them and let them know they're heard, man. Like, hey, man, like, I get it. You're having a rough time. I'm here to help you out. If I could just do that, just a little sliver of that, you know, I feel fulfilled in knowing that I helped somebody out. So that's why I do it. So, if, like I said, if you in it for the money, man, go to Wall Street or something, man. Don't do this for the money, you know. So, again, back to that control thing. When you get to this situation, right? We don't know, where is he, right? Let's go to Exodus chapter 32, which, you know, Moses is up on that mountain getting the instructions for the people to build the dwelling place so that God can live among them, so that the Lord can walk around among them and they can go and inquire of him right then and there. And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together to Aaron and said to him, "Up, make us gods which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we want not what is become of him." The Most High got them out of Egypt. They already forgot. Hey, we don't know what's up with this guy Moses, man. He's gone. The situation that we thought was under control to our understanding is not taking place. Hey, let's go do something about it. Not, oh, wait, relax, guys. We're good. We're safe. Nobody's coming up on us on horses trying to hurt people. Like, yo, we're just sitting here. Man, he ain't here, so what? Right? Control. The people felt like they were losing control, so they crashed out. And they tried to take control of a situation that was already under control. And then we know that Aaron, all right, break off your earrings and all that. And then they made that idol. And they got naked and did a whole bunch of crazy things that you ain't got no business doing when the Most High delivers you, man. You know, and this is where you get the controversy of that once saved, always saved doctrine. That's not in here. It's not in this Bible. I don't want to talk about it right too much, but that's a doctrine of control. Not the Most High's control, but your control, right? If you understand, all right, he saved me and delivered me from a certain, from the wrong path for me to be on the right path to do what he says, right? Then you understand, okay, hey, if I deviate from that path, I'm on my own. But when you teach that, oh, you can deviate from the path whenever you want, man, he still got you. The people who believe that do that for control. Because you got to have the belief that you can still do whatever you want and just pay the God tax and in the process. And that's not, you can't do that, man. That's having a controlling mind. That's not a mind of submission. That was the issue these people were having, is that's a lack of submission. If you're going to say, if I say that the Most High is in control of my life, and any situation that he puts me in to challenge me to grow, I start deviating because I don't like it, I'm stepping on his toes, man. And that's what the people did. And what really made me understand his mercy and the quality he desires in a leader, like for example Moses. And that's why Moses says that one greater than him is going to come, which is Yeshua, the Messiah, Jesus, is right here in Exodus chapter 32 verse 32, when the Most High says, yo, these people lost their minds, I'm going to take them out. Moses says, after he deals with the people and straightens them out, after interceding for them, he says, yet now, if you will forgive their sin, and if not, blot me, I pray you, out of your book, which you have written. So Moses says, forgive these people, and if you're going to take them out, take me out too. Right? And the Most High reassures him. It says in Exodus 32, verse 33, and the Lord said unto Moses, whosoever has sinned against me, him will I blot out of my book. He reassures Moses and lets him know who's in charge at the same time. And I thought that was beautiful, man. It's a testament to his mercy, you know. And then another part right here, when Moses, when they remake the 2 tablets. So when Moses comes down and sees what the people did with the golden calf, he got those 2 tablets and he broke them. Right? He saw what was taking place and he smashed them. Man, are you serious? Everything he's done for us and you're going to do this? Think about a marriage. Everything we've been through together, you're going to go sleep with someone else? Stealing. Everything you have, you want to take with someone else's? Coveting. Everything you have, you want to desire with someone else's? The power in telling the truth, you want to lie, right? The 10 Commandments. They just got it, right? And here we go. When the Lord proclaims his name, his authority, Exodus chapter 34, verse 6, and it says, and the Lord passed by before him and proclaimed, the Lord, or Yahuwah, that's his name, right? Lord is his title. The Lord God, merciful and gracious, long suffering. We are here today with these tech lords and billionaires and these crazy people doing Yah knows what, and this world is still standing. Long suffering. It's an abusive relationship, man, and it's the Most High being abused by us because we take his stuff for granted. We you know what I'm saying? The Lord, merciful and gracious, long suffering and abundant in goodness and truth, keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin, and that will by no means clear the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children and upon the children's children unto the 3rd and to the 4th generation. When you read that in Exodus chapter 20, and you read it here where he says that he visits the iniquity upon the 3rd and 4th generation, you know, iniquity, that's bloodline sin, like that's generational sin. Like if I'm a thief, whether I can't help but feeling into my son. There's even been tests proving that addiction carries on through DNA. So if I have an addiction problem, whatever comes out of me, the boy or girl, whoever, they're going to struggle with addiction too, right? That's iniquity. That's generational sin. The Most High visits iniquity, right? That doesn't mean he's putting it on them like, oh, your dad was a drunk, I'm going to make you a drunk. No, it's visited upon you, right? If I was an alcoholic, my children going to see me drink. They're going to see the way I behave, right? And the Most High is going to deal with me because he tasked me with taking care of these children, his creation, the next generation, to take care of this earth, to love him and love their neighbor. I'm on watch. All right. They're seeing it, right? And I don't know if you guys ever heard the story of the 2 sons, right? raised by an alcoholic father. One saw their father and became a drunk. They said, why you became a drunk? Because my dad's a drunk. The other one saw an alcoholic father, didn't drink, became a lawyer. They said, why'd you become a lawyer and not drink? Because my father was a drunk, right? So that's visiting the iniquity. It's okay, here's the visit. You see it. You know that's wrong. Even the people who do it know it's wrong. You see it. You know it's wrong. What you're going to do about it. The iniquity is visited. You decide. Choose ye this day. And that's a testament to his mercy, because even if you choose wrong, you got your whole life to change. Right? But what? It's all about the struggle with control. It's why there's idolatry. It's why there's crime. Right? Funny story. Me and my mom, we were talking about, Breaking Bad. I used to love that show when I was younger. And she was like that show. Like, I forget what we were talking about, but she was talking about how she liked it too. And it was a good show. And I was like, Mom, that's not a good show. And my mom was like, what do you mean it's not a good show? You liked it. Like, we watched it together. And I was like, nah, it's not a good show because it sets a bad example and it's stupid. Right? If you guys didn't watch Breaking Bad, I'll spoil it for you, but in a way that makes sense, right? Essentially, the guy got cancer. He has friends that are multimillionaires, I think billionaires in the show, right? And they offer, when he has lung cancer, he's a guy with a stay-at-home wife. He's a full-time chemistry teacher, and he works part-time at the car wash so that his wife can stay at home and take care of his son with cerebral palsy, right? He gets lung cancer. He talks, his wife says, hey, we should talk to your friends that are worth billions of dollars to see if they'll take care of it, right? His friends say, hey, we'll pay off your mortgage. We'll pay all your medical fees. You don't got to worry about going to work. We'll take care of you and your family. He goes, no. And he goes and cooks meth and becomes the biggest drug kingpin in the Southwest because of his pride. Because he didn't want his friends taking care of him medically. That's how control works. That's how sin works. And that is how sin leads to death, because the guy ends up, eliminating his own life at the end of the show. There's the two paths right in front of you. The Most High's path, hey, you got blessed with some friends who are willing to give up their hard-earned money to make sure that you and your family's okay. There would be no Breaking Bad if Walter White said, oh, you guys are great. All praise to the Most High. Yes, thank you, please. Nope. Instead, we get a whole show about a guy sacrificing his family for his own pride. You understand? Control, man. It's the issue with control. I had the issue with control with school. Oh, man, how am I going to fit this schedule? When am I going to get a chance to chill? Oh, I got to do all this reading, man, but with my kids and all that. And then I tried to go to the gym on Wednesday because I got school in the morning and school in the afternoon the next day. So school in the morning, I get the afternoon off. And then I got school in the morning. And no, then I have the morning off. And then I go to school in the afternoon. I got 3 kids, man. But I'm here like, nah, I could squeeze in the gym for like an hour and do this and do that. And then I couldn't even get any of it done. And I was mad. I was like, man, this is ridiculous, man. I don't know how I'm going to get through nursing school. I feel trapped. All of that, all because I didn't get to do something I wanted to do. The Most High blessed me with the opportunity with school, but because I couldn't do one little thing, I'm here like, man, this is impossible. This is crazy, And that's why, men, get yourself a wife. Because I call my wife, because my wife is running the errand. I'm watching the kids, and I call my wife, and I'm like, man, I'm losing my mind here. Like, I can't figure this out. And she's like, maybe you got to put yourself aside and prioritize your studies. But I'm like, I gotta start exercising, man. I'm fat. I'm ugly. Like, I don't look right. I got my own insecurities, man. I gained weight. I'm 240. Like, I can't do this. And she's like, yo, relax. Like, I think you're handsome. You know what I'm saying? And then that, like, that it just changes, man. Get yourself a wife, man, for real. And I got some verses for y'all when it comes to this control. Which when you go to Proverbs, man, I had to go to the Word today, this morning, and really lock in on these scriptures to understand why I was struggling with this situation, with this aspect of control, of why I was so like with this opportunity to go to nursing school and pursue an education and do all these things. Why am I still struggling to control? Why am I not submitting to the things that I got to get done? And it's the same issue right here with the golden calf. It's a man issue, like we talked about last week with Ann Sullivan saying the greatest sin is giving up. It's the original sin. Adam and Eve, they had the whole garden in front of them before a sliver of control, right? The serpent said, you will be as gods, right? When the real question is, hey, if you living in God's house with God, what does that make you? Made in his image. What does it make you, right? You are right? Nope. Still went and did it. Control. And trying to wrest control over the Most High. They want to step on his toes, essentially. They wanted to test it. They got kicked out. Same thing. How many opportunities? I can't even number the opportunities that I've lost when that opportunity required me to change the current life that I had control over for a life that would relinquish the control that I had, right? It's a conundrum of man. And this verse right here, so, I started just looking up Bible verses about control and all that, and that's what I was studying. So right here, in Proverbs, it speaks against that controlling type, about relinquishing control. So in Proverbs chapter 19, verse 16 to 21, it says, he who keeps the commandment keeps his soul. One of the most humbling things you can do in your life is keep the Most High's commandments. And they're also empowering. And you keep your soul. But you got to relinquish control. If you love money, keeping the Sabbath it will probably be an abomination to you. Because instead of getting money 7 days a week, you got to get them 6. But who's in charge of keeping you alive, right? The Most High. That's why a lot of people turn away from the commandments. Nah, bro, I want to work this Saturday, man. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. So the Sabbath is going to slow me down. But it says, he who keeps the commandment keeps his soul. But he who is careless of his ways will die. Something my wife said, where she was like, what did she say, man? Oh, man, she said something great. It was me, my wife, and my mom, and we were talking, and we were saying, people who live like bummy, like bum lives, like you're a full grown, able-bodied adult, but you choose to stay in your mom's house and hang out and do nothing. And we were like, yo, those are the freest people in the world. They can wake up whenever they want, go wherever they want. Their mom will give them an allowance if they need some money. The mom makes some food unless they want to make something for themselves. Their mom buys their groceries, everything. And you just leave your house and go home whenever you want. You're a bona fide bum. You living better than a Roman emperor. You living better than a man who works for a living. But what do those people say? This is a Babylonian system. There's no work. And you tell them, hey, why don't you go work at McDonald's? You'll get you a job. You can go work at McDonald's right now. They'll hire you on the spot. I don't want to work in fast food, right? Oh man, this Babylonian system, I don't want to be a slave, 9 to 5. But you in your mom's house and you the freest man on earth, but you feel like you a slave. And that's what my wife said. She was like, no, they're slaves. They're slaves to sin, man, to laziness, to control. They have so much control over their life that they don't have control at all. And that was something posed to me. And I was like, dang, like us having a conversation about people who don't do anything with their lives, how they try to control their life. I'm like, dang, You know, you could even do that as someone who isn't a bum. I do this at 8 o'clock every day. I gotta go here. This job needs to be here. Is you got so much control over your life that you don't got no control. Because if something goes south, you know, if anybody's worked with someone who's like, you know, Poindexter or something, you know, it's always like this and this and this and this and this, and they're like dictators. Once something goes south, they lose their minds. I mean, you can see it on the news right now. There's a notorious war going on right now, and there's war going on all over the place. There's all this politicking and everything, right? You got people on the Democrats that's mad because they don't got control. People on the Republicans that they mad that they don't got control. Jews don't got control. Christians don't got control. Muslim, everybody and their mother want control. And in the midst of it, they lose control and they do crazy things. What does it say? He who is careless of his ways will die. But then it says, he who has pity on the poor lends to Yahuwah, lends to the Lord. You got to relinquish control to lend to the poor, man. You have to relinquish control to lend to the poor. Man, I got $20. Bro, I need $20. Right? Do one thing. I'm not saying give everybody $20 if you got $20, but just think about it, right? Bear with me here, right? This is the control problem. Hey, I really need $20 to get to work. You're just gonna spend that money on weed and a Subway sandwich. You're not gonna use that money to get to work. Ugh. Whoa! How do you know? You don't, right? Why does Messiah say, "Let your yes be yes and your no be no"? Now, obviously, if the person's an offender, if they be playing games, that's not. You don't have to give it to them. But if this is like pure, like you don't know what's gonna happen, like this is somebody, you know, why aren't you gonna give to the poor? No, they're not gonna spend it on what you want them to spend it on. That's the problem. All right. He who has pity on the poor lends to the Lord, and he will pay back what he is given. Me personally, I love giving to the homeless people, man, especially where it's blazing hot. If I don't got cash, I'll give them, you know, if I got snacks in my car, I'll give them whatever I got. It was one, I used to carry around toothpicks, and then one guy, you know, his hand was a little dirty, and he stuck his hand in the bag of toothpicks, and I was just like, you can have the whole bag. Obviously, I'm not going to use those toothpicks. But I used to like, you know, hand out a handful of toothpicks and stuff, like the floss toothpicks. You know, if I got like a bottle of soda, I'll see somebody outside of Starbucks, I'll buy him a sandwich. I like that, man. I like doing that because that's what I think about is, you know, growing up in New York City. Oh my goodness, I think I got bit by something. Whatever. Growing up in New York City, you saw them everywhere. And I always thought, like in the cold, I always give them some because I'm like, bro, that could be me tomorrow. That could be me any day. All I need is one bad day where the things that I control come out of my control, and I act a fool and forget who my creator is and where I came from, and I drink and get behind the wheel and hurt somebody. Y'all forbid, I'm going to end up homeless on the street too. Obviously, these aren't things I hope for, but that's the mindset that I have, right? And that's a mindset I encourage you guys to have of anything can happen at any moment. You could lose your arm on the job. Now you can't work. Now you homeless, right? We don't know these people's stories. We don't know what happened to them. We don't know who hurt them, who took from them. What, you know what I'm saying? So when we see them, rather than go, oh man, this is a dirty meth smoker, right? It's like, whoa. Messiah says, judge not lest you be judged. Any one of us, if we hanging out on our house on Shabbat in the comfort of our home with some AC, you could be homeless tomorrow. Abba forbid. So that's why we got to treat them the way we want to be treated, right? And it says that Yahuwah will pay us back. And this is speaking against people with control. All this speaks against control. Here we go. Here's another one. Chasing your son while there is hope, right? Discipline your son while there is hope, and do not set your heart on his destruction. That's another control problem, right? The people who, oh, my kid is perfect. He couldn't do anything wrong. Oh, I don't want to. I want to let my kid decide, and all this is control, right? Raising your child properly requires giving up control. That's why it says if you don't discipline your children, if you don't chasten your son while there is hope, while they still listen to you, that you set in your heart on their destruction. What did we say earlier? Why do the people give the kids the iPad so they can shut up, right? Let the iPad teach the kid. Teaching your children to live the right way requires relinquishing control, right? I would much rather let my kids run around, raise hell, so I can hang out at home, eat a bowl of cereal, and watch TV all day. Right? That is an option that is 100% more convenient and doesn't require me having to teach my child how to function. But I got to give up the control that I want over my quiet time, over my time off from work, my time off from school, to make sure that my children are good to go, that they know right from wrong. Is another one that requires you to relinquish control. A man of great wrath will suffer punishment, for if you rescue him, you'll have to do it again. Being a man of great wrath. It actually, this verse calls out two people. The people who want to save everybody, you can't. That requires you to relinquish control. And the people who are out of control, that's how they exercise control. Don't get it twisted. The people who crash out and get crazy when they don't get what they want, right? People are great wrath. That's how they behave when they don't have control. And it says, listen to counsel and receive instruction that you may be wise in your latter days. To listen to counsel and receive instruction, you have to relinquish just about every sense of control that you have in your life, right? A man who's a Buddhist tells you to save your money and you keep Torah. I ain't gonna listen to no Buddhist. What does that Buddhist know? He doesn't keep Torah. Or you could be mature and say, hey, let me hear this man out. We may not worship the same God. We're talking about, saving some money to provide a future for my family. If he's giving me tips to take care of my children, maybe I should hear him out. I read a book from a guy, you think, or something like that. Man, I don't know the name of the book off the top of my head. It's control your over. It was a book about overthinking. I don't have any evidence that guy believes what I believes. I don't know what his credentials are. I just picked the book up off of Amazon and read it because it looked like something I needed. So I was like, sure. And it ended up being a great book. But I had to sit down and listen to that book when I was driving to work. I was listening to it on Audible. When I wanted to listen to music or a podcast about, conspiracy stuff or whatever, I said, nah, instead of listening to my regular podcasts and all this fun stuff, I'm gonna listen to this guy's book. And it actually helped me out a lot. But it required me relinquishing control over what I usually listen to on my drive to work and my drive home. Receiving counsel and instruction requires the relinquishing of control. And you will be wise in your latter days, right? And then Proverbs 19, verse 21, there are many plans in a man's heart. Nevertheless, Yahuwah's counsel, that will stand. Ooh, I read that. That one, shook me up because I was like, dang, I had all these plans of what I'm going to do in my free time from studying and nursing school, and they didn't come to fruition. Instead, I did a bunch of other stuff that I had to do anyway, but that's how the Most High works. All right, I got a plan to do this. I'm going to go do that. I wanted to take my kids to Aquatica 2 weeks ago. I was so excited, man. It was crazy how excited I was to take them to Aquatica. And then it was like thundering and raining, but I was like, well, maybe we'll beat the storm. We had Chick-fil-A. It was a great time. It was a great time. We were taking them to Aquatica Thursday. It was Thursday, man. We are going to take them to Aquatica Thursday. Got the day off from work. It was beautiful. The whole time I hear that first thunder. I'm here praying, Abba, please don't let no thunder and lightning and rain come through here because I want to go to Aquatica with my kids and make memories and blah, blah, blah and all that. I get to the park. You could go inside, but ain't no rides open. And the whole time I knew that was gonna happen, but I was like, we going to Aquatica, bro. It's just rain, there's no lighting, it's shut down. And the kids were like, oh, so my daughter, it's okay, daddy, these things happen. And I'm here like, nah, man, this is crazy. Ah, I was upset, you know. And then like as we walk into the car, I just start laughing, and I'm like, you know what, Father? I don't need to worry about it, man. Oh well, we'll go another day. And the reason why I was worried is because we purchased the tickets for the day. And then what was the relief? We looked it up. The tickets are good for a year. And then I prayed and I asked the Most High for forgiveness for like wanting to control the weather. It's stuff like that, man. Many other plans in a man's heart, but Yahuwah establishes. And we ended up doing something fun anyway that day. We got ice cream. We had a good day regardless. But what did it require? Relinquishing control. Hold on, let me see something. And the next thing I thought about was what leads to control. And what leads to control is worrying. And what does Messiah say? Right? Matthew chapter 6, it says, do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, and with thieves break in and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. The lamp of the body is the eye. If therefore your eye is good, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eye is bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in you is darkness, how great is that darkness? How bad do you need that control? No one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will be loyal to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon, money, greed, my lifestyle. I got to work 7 days a week to make this $800 a month car payment. Maybe you don't need an 800. If you can't afford an $800 a month car payment, that's it. You know, but that's the control. The control comes from worrying, and we see it here when after he says you can't serve God and greed, he says, therefore I say to you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body, what you will put on. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? Therefore, do not worry, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or what shall we wear? For after all these things, the Gentiles, the nations, right? The nations. It's basically World War III breaking out right now, because everybody's worried about where they're going to get oil, or where they're going to get minerals, where they're going to get money. And look at how far people go in destruction to fill the questions that they're worried about. To not worry also requires relinquishing control, man. For after all these things, the nations seek. For your heavenly Father knows that you need all these things. But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about its own things. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. Now, does that mean if you stop worrying, is it going to change the fact that life is hard? No. But if you're present, you could deal with it. Relinquish the control. And then I thought about this verse right here. So then it took me to, all right, so if I'm relinquishing control, who's in control, right? Because if you tell somebody, hey, you got to relinquish your control, brother. All right, so who's in control? Who do we give the control to? And I read Isaiah chapter 45, verse 6 through 12, and it says that they may know from the rising of the sun to its setting that there is none besides me. I am Yahuwah, and there is no other. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, Yahuwah, do all these things. And before people go, oh, he creates evil, that means he's bad. No, man, evil is a judgment for people who do evil things. If you a warmonger and you a killer, somebody's going to kill you. Somebody's going to take you out. You lie to people, you steal from people, you're going to live with that. Don't be surprised when somebody they say there's no honor among thieves. Oh, well, he says he creates good and creates evil. Evil is judgment, man. If you can't control yourself and you end up in circumstances that result from losing control, that's an evil situation. He made that too, to straighten you out, hopefully to get you to turn back before it gets worse. Here, I'll give you a perfect example. Divorce. Divorce is an evil thing. It's awful, right? And here we go. Whether the divorce is an evil situation, period. Whether you're leaving the person for a righteous reason, like they did something wrong, they did something evil, or you guys are breaking up just because you can't deal with each other, whatever, it's evil. Because a union, a marriage, something that's supposed to be sacred, broke apart. It's an evil thing. But why does it exist? Because of the hardness of men's hearts, right? Somebody does an evil thing. They commit adultery, infidelity, fornication. They cheat on their spouse. They did an evil thing, right? And then an evil thing happens to them. They lose their relationship. God, why did I lose my wife? Why'd you cheat on your wife? God, why did I lose my husband? Why'd you cheat on your husband? He creates good and he creates evil. Evil is not what this world teaches. All that crazy stuff. I mean, it is with the devil horns and all that, but it's not. Evil is a consequence. And it's a consequence to those that worship control, their own control. And mind you, when people who try to control, it's never self-control. It's never, hold up, let me control myself. Let me save myself 5 minutes of trouble so I don't do 5 years in prison, right? Maybe this argument ain't worth swinging on that guy. No, the conversation is never about self-control, right? So he says, I create evil. I, Yahuwah, do all these things. Rain down, you heavens from above, and let the skies pour down righteousness. Let the earth open. Let them bring forth salvation, and let righteousness spring up together. I, Yahuwah, have created it. Woe to him who strives with his maker. Let the potsherd, the person who makes pots, the clayman, strive with the potsherds of the earth. Shall the clay say to him who forms it, what are you making? Or shall your handiwork say he has no hands? Woe to him who says to his father, what are you begetting? Or to the woman, what have you brought forth? And that's another topic of abortion. That's another topic of dishonoring your parents, right? What is something some kids say when they got a problem? I wish I was never born. Like, whoa, chill. Right? It's a crash out. It's okay. I don't want you guys to get from this that I'm saying you can't worry. You can't be afraid of something. You can't be stressed out. I'm saying listen to it, man. I'm saying this to myself too. Until the day we die, we're going to worry about things. Until the day we die, we're going to be stressed about things. Until the day we die, we're going to be scared. We're going to be angry. What does it say? Be wrath, but don't sin. The only way to save yourself from sin is to acknowledge what is stirring inside your members. But you'd be wrong to live in it, man, to bathe in it, man. That's the issue with control. Another one, Job chapter 38. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind. You know, you guys know the story of Job, man. That guy suffered a whole bunch. And the Lord tells him, he says, who is this who darkens counsel by words without knowledge? Now prepare yourself like a man. I will question you and you shall answer me. All right. You know, Job, Beethoven, John, Jimmy, Jack, whoever you are, right? Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me if you have understanding. Who determined its measurements? Who could measure the earth right now? They can't even measure the whole earth. They said the earth is 666,000. Do you understand what I'm saying? These are people making this stuff up, man. You can't measure the earth. They don't even have enough satellites to measure all the weather. So when the weather come by surprise, people start freaking out. You understand? Only the Most High know. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me if you have understanding. Who determined its measurements? Surely you know. Or who stretched the line upon it? To what were its foundations fastened? Or who laid its cornerstone? when the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy? Have you commanded the morning since your days began? What if any one of us commanded the morning to start when we wake up? Even now, we say, I started my morning. Your morning. You must have a lot of power. All right, have you commanded the morning since your days began and caused the dawn to know its place, that it might take hold of the ends of the earth and the wicked be shaken out of it? So who's in control? These elites, these billionaires, these guys trying to do the data centers and poison the water and do all this craziness and trying to control you and surveil and do all of this. They're not in control. But look at how far they go to try to have control, to try to wrest control. Peter Thiel, Palantir, said the people who are against AI are the Antichrist. This Bible tells you who the Antichrist is. And we're going to get to that verse in a little bit. This book tells you who the Antichrist is. The anti-Mashiach, the anti-Yeshua, the anti-Jesus, everything that's against Jesus, man, against the Messiah. And this man says that if you're against how he wants to control the narrative, you're anti-Messiah. That's how far people go. And it's not limited to people with power. It can be as small as what we talked about earlier. The bum hanging out at his mom's house, not doing anything with his life, who claims that the system's against him. But he can wake up whenever he wants and go wherever he wants, or until the $20 his mom gave him runs out. It says in Psalm chapter 2, why do the nations rage and the people plot a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bonds in pieces and cast away their cords from us. He who sits in the heavens shall laugh. The Lord shall hold them in derision. Then he shall speak to them in his wrath and distress them in his deep displeasure. Why does Yahuwah have a wrath with these people? Why does Yahuwah have an issue with the control freaks, with us, when we want to wrest control from him? Because they are squatters. That's what we do when we live in sinfully. We're the equivalent to squatters, man. What do squatters do? They don't pay up. They ruin the house. So what's a squatter in this context? I got the sun. I got shade from this tree. I got clean drinking water, and I don't have to pump it from a well. I got clothes. I got my dog sitting over there in the corner hanging out, and he's a good dog. I know if somebody came up on me, he would defend me. But I'm going to sit here and complain about the fact that I ain't get to go to the gym before class, and now I don't have enough energy to start my day. And, something simple. I'm just a regular guy. I'm forgetting that the sun, I'm forgetting all this stuff that he gave me because I ain't get to do what I want to do. And the more power and money you have, power, whatever, that people give you, that the devil get, whatever, it just, the scale gets greater. It goes from complaining to burning stuff down and hurting people. It's just an escalation. And that's where his wrath comes in. You give somebody everything and they still got something to say. Now listen here. This is where we get to this. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. It says, now, brethren, concerning the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ and our gathering together to him, we ask you not to be soon shaken in mind or troubled, either by spirit or by word or by letter, as if from us, as though the day of Christ had come. No. Let no one deceive you by any means, for that day will not come unless the falling away comes first. What's the falling away? Hey, I've been keeping the Most High's commandments for 10 years, man. And the world still, it sucks. Clearly, he's not real. There's people like that. I know, man, the first time I experienced it, it made me so sad. This person was going through a real hardship. Let me just get to that script. This person was going through a very difficult time, and they were keeping the Most High's commandments and the testimony of Yeshua. But because their life for this period of time was so hard, they figured that the Most High is not real. And they gave up. And I haven't heard from that person since. And to this day, I pray for them. And before anyone says, man, that could never be me, be careful. Because that could be anyone, including me. Why? Because of the control. Because there's people who keep this faith for control. Well, if I keep the Most High's commandments and they keep the testimony of Christ, I know I'm getting in the kingdom. So that's it. Yo, how do you know? What if something go down tomorrow? How you know you're going to be there? You still here. Letting go, we got to let go of that control. And that's where the falling away comes first. Because all the people that thought that all because they do it doesn't mean they don't got to worry about being alive anymore, living your life in the day to day, they're going to fall away. They're going to hate it. How many times that we've had a rapture scare, and when the rapture doesn't happen, people stop believing? The great falling away. It says, and the man of sin is revealed, the son of perdition, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, that he sits as God in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. This hasn't happened yet. This hasn't happened yet. Hey, I'm sorry to break it to you guys. The world's not ending today. It's probably not going to end tomorrow. So that means whatever drama you got going on in your life, you got to sort it out. You can't wait for Messiah to come down from the sky and get you out of your credit card debt that you put yourself in. You can't sit on your butt, be lazy, not go to school to get a better job to take care of your family because somebody told you Messiah is coming in September 2023. For all my people who believe that, man, how's it going now? Did you start getting your life right and praise the Most High that actually the violence that comes with his return doesn't take place? Right? And then we go here, 2 Thessalonians. The coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan, with all power, signs, and lying wonders, and with all unrighteous deception among those who perish, because they did not receive the love of the truth, that they might be saved. What's the love of the truth? That the Most High is in control, not me, not you. The love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this reason, God will send strong delusion, that they should believe the lie, that they all may be condemned who did not believe the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. Because, man, is it so pleasurable to live in a bubble that you think you control everything that happens in your life. You control what you do with yourself. That's about it. But we are bound to give thanks to God always for you, brethren, beloved by the Lord, because God from the beginning chose you for salvation through sanctification by the Spirit and belief in the truth to which he called you by our gospel, for the obtaining of the glory of our Lord Jesus Christ. Therefore, brethren, stand fast and hold the traditions which you were taught, whether by word or our epistle. Not Christmas, not Easter. Those are holidays for control. And they control you. But somebody, I tell somebody, hey, Christmas is wrong. Welcome through the whole thing. Yeah, it is pagan. But I like it, so I'm going to still do it. So it's wrong. But because you like it, you got to believe that Jesus did away with the law so that you could do something that's lawless. And that's not to talk about Christmas, man. It is what it is. But that's that cognitive dissonance. Something that challenges your control. You want to eliminate it, man. It's a threat. And then this brings me to the end of this little Sabbath journal right here, man, is where is the real control found? Because there is control. We do have the power to control our lives. And that control that we're seeking is obedience. That's the real control. Because when you obey the Most High, last week I talked about it. This relationship I have with the Most High where I keep his commandments, where I honor the wife and the children that he's given me, right? I honor my mother and father. I work hard. I love him. I love my neighbors. I love my fellow man. I look out for them. That don't change the fact that the bills are due on the first. That don't change the fact that if I spend all my money eating out, I won't have no money to put gas in my car. I don't change none of that. It's not against the Torah to blow all my money on fast food and video games. It's not against the law. I could do it. But in his obedience and knowing his standard, I don't. Right? And that's the control that I have in my life, is knowing, hey, as long as I trust in him and do what he says, I have a structure to navigate my life. I know when something go down, I had a lady flip me off on the way to my first day of school. The lane was wide open, the right lane. I turned in, she was on her phone, slammed the brake, flip, I'm not gonna do it, flip me off, started wilding out. And I got a little bit of anxiety because I felt bad. I was like, man, dude, that lady was scared. Like, I'm glad there wasn't an accident, whatever. And she's like, nah, going crazy. And I was like, man, that sucks, man. That's how you feel like you gotta behave towards somebody. You know what I'm saying? But what's that? She clearly don't got control over something in her life to behave that way. Versus I got the control. I know how the Most High says to treat people, how to feel about people. And I prayed for that lady, and it brought me peace. Because I could have been the other way around. I could have flipped her off back and lost control. So what is the real control? Self-control. What is self-control? Obedience to the Most High. Because if you can control yourself, you will guide yourself into having a proper vertical relationship with him. So here we go. Matthew chapter 7. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, shall enter the kingdom of heaven, but he who does the will of my Father in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in your name, cast out demons in your name, and done many wonders in your name? That's a control freak trying to tell the Messiah what he got to do for them. Hey, I prophesied in your name. I cast out demons in your name. You better let me in there. You better let me in that kingdom. Right? That's a control freak. And then the Messiah says, and then I will declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you who practice lawlessness. He said this to law keepers, by the way. So what does that mean? Right? It's when I used to play baseball, my coach, he would have us do a lot of conditioning. We had to do a whole bunch of cardio, whole bunch of exercise, and we play catch for like the whole hour. And we'd be like, bro, we want to hit the ball. We want to do this. He was like, yo, that's the fundamentals of baseball. I'm trying to turn you guys into athletes. Keep Shabbat. Don't eat pork. Don't eat shellfish. Don't steal, right? Like those are the fundamentals, quote unquote, right? You could do that. How about doing it when you don't feel like doing it, right? Keep Shabbat. When your best friend wants you to go to his to his birthday party, right? Uh-oh. I prophesied in your name. You don't understand? It's the fundamental. Anybody could swing and hit a ball, but he's trying to make us, you know, like as we refer to that, is athletes. It ain't grabbing the bat and swinging the ball or getting the glove and catching the ball. Do your best to perfect it. Self-control. Here we go. And then we back here. And it says, therefore, whoever hears these sayings of mine and does them, I will liken him to a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain descended, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, and it did not fall, for it was founded on the rock. A house that's founded on the rock can still get a hole through the roof from a hailstorm, but the house is still there. You got to relinquish control to trust on the rock that your house is built on. And then he says, but everyone who hears these sayings of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. And the rain descended, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, and it fell. And great was its fall, because it wasn't on the foundation of giving up control to the Most High. Romans chapter 3, verse 31. Do we then make void the law through faith? Certainly not. On the contrary, we establish the law. Jesus delivered us from death. The law is done. No. Now that you have faith in him and you know that he delivered you from death, you better establish that law. Somebody bails you out from breaking from breaking the law. I mean, hey, we see it today with prison. You bail somebody out for breaking the law, and then they go and break another law and end up back in jail. Well, you bailed me out, bro. So it's you understand? We established the law. We have this faith. We know what he did for us. So we're going to keep these commandments to represent. Revelation 14, verse 12 to 13. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are those who keep the commandments of God, the Most High, Yahuwah, and the faith of Jesus, Yahshua, the Messiah. Then I heard a voice from heaven saying to me, "Write, blessed are the dead who die in the Lord from now on. Yes, says the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors and their works follow them." You know how much you got to give up being a control freak to understand this scripture? And in this revelation, it's talking about when times is real serious. It's crazy out here, but it ain't as crazy as it can be and as it will be. And it says the patience of the saints is in the midst of this craziness to keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus, the faith of Yahshua. But in order to do that, you got to relinquish control. You got to let go of what's stirring in your members. James chapter 4. Adulterers and adulteresses, do you not know that friendship with the world is enmity with God? Oh man, there's a new trend right now on Instagram. They're saying there's going to be an 18-month blackout. And now it's scaring people. A couple years ago, big East Coast tsunami. Everyone who lives on the East Coast, move away. Giving power to that conspiracy. I know a guy who straight up packed up and left his mom, his dad, and his fiance and moved to a hotel in Philadelphia because it was away from the coast. Because he was so scared because of all that was going on Instagram. Trusting in the world, thinking he could save himself. Do you not know that friendship with the world is enmity with God? Whoever therefore wants to be a friend of the world makes himself an enemy of God. Or do you think that the scripture says in vain, the spirit who dwells in us yearns jealousy? He wants us to listen to him. He wants them to get out of the rut that's in our minds, man. But he gives more grace. Therefore, he says, God resists the proud. He resists the control freaks. Oh, how does he resist the proud? If you're not talking to him, you understand? And we read in Leviticus 26. You turn your face from me, turn your face from you. Can you guys hear me if I'm like this? You're going to bother with me? Yo, hey, bro, your shoes are untied. Yeah, all right. That's how he resists the proud. If you don't want to listen, hey, that's on you. Hey, you got it. You got the control. Have the control. God resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Therefore, submit to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Draw near to God, and he will draw near to you. Cleanse your hands, you sinners, and purify your hearts, you double-minded. Lament and mourn and weep. Mourn that control. Cry about it. Let it go. Dig deep. What is it that's holding you back? What is it that, man, I can't let this go? Ugh. Cry about it. Mourn it. Let your laughter be turned to mourning and your joy to gloom. Humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord, and he will lift you up. I'll give you an example of this. I used to be a person that really held grudges, man. I really believed in getting even. You could even say I was a prophet of the religion of getting even. Don't get mad, get even. Right? I had to get my get back. Right? Because it felt good. And when I read that scripture, that's why when Paul says, when I knew the law, I knew sin. It says in Leviticus 19, holding a grudge is a sin. That stirred my soul, man, because I had to sit there and be like, yo, so this whole time I've been saying get even. When I get disrespected, I've been sinning. And this is the way I'm mourning. This is the only way that'll get you out of a situation like that, is understand that it does feel good. But all because it feel good don't make it right. Lament, mourn, weeping, weeping. Why? Why, if this is so bad, why does it feel so good? That's why I don't do it, because I like it. I like getting even, right? I like speaking my mind when I need to be quiet. But because I know that that's not right, I don't do it. Humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord, and he will lift you up. So at the end of this, after I went through these scriptures this morning, and I was like studying, trying to, just meditating, I really understood, like, all this control. Like my wife said, the freest man in the world is a bum, but he's a slave. He's a slave to being a bum. All this control that we think we have over our lives, we're actually slaves to it. We're slaves to the control that we think we have. And that sucks, man. And in this scripture right here, we'll end it with this, John chapter 8, verse 32 to 36. The Messiah says, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. What's the truth? We don't got all the power. We don't control this world. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. They answered him, we are Abraham's descendants and have never been in bondage to anyone. How can you say you will be made free? Jesus answered them, most assuredly, I say to you, whoever commits sin is a slave to sin. I would say that's a golden calf thing right there, right? That's almost idolatry, to think that you can control everything that's going on in your life, so much so that you will transcend common sense to make it happen. It's idolatry. You idolizing your time. I idolize my time, right? Obviously it's not an idol, you're not bowing down to it, but it's something we should consider. Like, hey, if I'm so serious about getting what I want, maybe there's a problem, and you're a slave to it. You could be a slave to being a control freak. And he said, most assuredly, I say to you, whoever commits sin is a slave to sin, and a slave does not abide in the house forever, but a son abides forever. Therefore, if the Son makes you free, you shall be free indeed. If the Son makes you free, you shall be free indeed. That's all I got, man. You guys have a blessed rest of your Sabbath. Let me know in the comments if you like this style right here, even if you like this Sabbath journal, if you want me to just do a formal reading and not a conversation kind of deal right here where I'm just talking. Let me know, man. Let me know, and we'll figure it out together. I'm planning to upload these on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all that. Rebooting the Guard Your Garment podcast. Guess we could do it like this. Why not? Strip the audio, put it on there. And you guys have a blessed week, man, and find out what it is that you really need to be in control of, and dig deep, mourn it, bury it. Make sure it's dead before you bury it, and then let it go, man. And I want to let you guys know I'm working on that too. We're a team. Shabbat Shalom. Happy Sabbath.